Hey everybody, welcome. My name's Ezra Levant, and this is Battleground. Well, it's March 20th, and I made a mistake last night. Don't do this, people. Don't watch the movie 12 Monkeys. Oh, let me turn my volume off on my laptop. Don't watch 12 Monkeys. It's too depressing. It's about a dystopian future where a virus has wiped out all life on the surface and mankind lives underground. 99% of people were dead. And they developed a time machine to try and go back in time and track the virus and stop the virus. And Bruce Willis was the star. I think the movie came out in 1995 or something. So it was sort of pre-internet era, pre-tech era. But terrifying nonetheless, and a bit of a psychological thriller. Don't do that. Why would you do that? Why would you watch Contagion? Why would you watch World War Z? Why would you do this to yourself? I wrote in my diary. But we have enough things to deal with in real life that we don't need to stress ourselves out with fictitious fancy. I see a fella saying there's no audio. Is that true? Can I hear from our viewers, is there indeed no audio? We can't hear you, says Finn Baylor. Is that true? People here can hear it, so let me know if anyone else. That Tax says he has audio, so does Base Brat 64. So Finn below, I think it's on your side. There's a lot of things I want to cover. The first is, not half an hour ago, Justin Trudeau reversed course. And we should give someone credit when they reverse course, even though if they're extremely slow to do so. Justin Trudeau said that they will, in fact, stop the open border illegal crossing at Roxham Road. And I think we have a clip of that, do we? Go ahead.
With Canadian Airlines to help Canadians stranded abroad come home. We will have more details to share, but the first flight will be picking up Canadians from Morocco this weekend. As I announced Wednesday, Canada and the United States have agreed to stop non-essential travel, specifically for tourism and recreation. Trade and commerce will continue. This takes effect at midnight tonight, and Minister Blair will give more details today. Further, today, Canada and the United States are announcing a reciprocal arrangement where we will now be returning irregular migrants who attempt to cross anywhere at the Canada-US border.
You know, one of the tells, like a poker tell, you know what I'm talking about, a poker tell, thanks David, is when someone's bluffing. They might have a tick, a mannerism, they blink, they might, you know, that's why a lot of poker players wear sunglasses when they play. So you can't see their eyes because they can't control their pupils dilating, for example. A very easy poker tell for politicians is if they say irregular migrants instead of illegal migrants. That tells you right away that they're not quite leveling with you, because if you've been to Roxham Road or even seen pictures, there's a mighty big sign, a billboard size almost, that uses the word illegal. It is illegal to cross at Roxham Road, yet Trudeau will not say that word. And he finally says that he's going to stop traffic, foot traffic there. And just to let you know, these are not Americans. There's no reason for Americans to flee to Canada. Both countries are free, both countries are rich, both countries are dealing with things in similar ways. These are foreigners in America who are either fleeing America before they're deported from America, or they've made a special trip to America to sneak into Canada knowing they'll never be deported. Our own Cian Bexty most recently made a trip to Roxham Road to see how that's going. I think he was here just like 4 days ago. Do we have that clip handy? Let's play that. Oh, well, give me a signal when you got it. So Cian went down there and he had his full Bane breather system on here. Take a look how that goes. We'll play, let's say, 3 minutes of this.
News. I'm at Roxham Road right now. This is the notorious intersection where illegal immigrants come from New York State into the province of Quebec. You can see the fence behind me. It wasn't there last week when I came here for my second time while I was documenting the illegal immigrants coming to this country in the middle of a pandemic. That was before Justin Trudeau announced that no foreigners would be allowed in this country at all. Actually, on top of that, he said even Canadians who are sick and abroad are not allowed to return home.
We will be denying entry to Canada to people who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents.
Now, after he made that announcement, I thought, well, surely Roxham Road will finally be closed. Not only are these people not Canadian, not only are they not family of Canadians, these people have no travel history. And on top of that, they've come from New York State, which is quickly becoming the epicenter in North America of the Wuhan virus that has become a global pandemic. In fact, the county right south of me right now, which allows access to these illegal immigrants, the aptly named Clinton County, has now announced cases as well. New York State is a hotbed, and not only are these people coming from that state, they're coming from across the world with very little travel documents, if any. Now, I came here to see with my own eyes that this is still happening in real time. Justin Trudeau is betraying Canadians. This is an image of the illegal aliens who just came in. Over the course of the hour that I've been here, about 24 have come in, but I find this family very interesting. There's about 7 or 8 of them, and very specifically, 2 of them were wearing masks. It wasn't the children, wasn't the father, it was 2 women, very specifically them wearing masks. It wasn't an overly cautious family who put a mask on everyone, saying that they're, concerned that they're going to contract the Wuhan coronavirus from Canadians. Sick Canadians are not allowed to return home to their country, which actually is a charter violation. It is against the Charter of Rights and Freedom to restrict access of Canadians to their own country. But while he does that, while he breaks the charter, he's allowing illegal immigrants, about 60 to 70 a day, to walk in. And what do you know, it only took a few minutes of me being here, although I'm not allowed to get super close like I was before. This fence behind me is prohibiting me. It says no trespassing, and I don't want to get arrested right now. I don't want to be in prison in the middle of a pandemic. But you can be sure that illegal immigrants are still using this border crossing. And what I found interesting, and you can see right here, they had an airplane pillow on their backpack. They've flown through regional airports and they've flown through international airports, and they've come from countries which perhaps might be hotbeds themselves. By not closing this notorious intersection, this notorious illegal crossing, Justin Trudeau is signaling to the world that any coronavirus patient can come into this country through this unauthorized point of entry and receive free gold-plated healthcare. The last thing Justin Trudeau wants in the news is news that a refugee died while they were in Justin Trudeau's care. Canadians have died already, but if a refugee dies in his care, well, that's a story. It sounds rough to say it. It sounds rough to hear it, but it's true. And he's showing it every day that he allows Roxham Road to stay open. He's not only putting the lives of the RCMP personnel who have to deal with these illegal aliens, who have to screen them and test them, because it appears now that they are actually taking those precautions. That changed over the weekend because they weren't doing it yesterday. And the only precautions, granted, are a surgical mask and gloves. Justin Trudeau is putting their life on the line, and he's putting Canadians' lives on the line. Are you prepared to risk the life of Canadians? We're risking the life of Canadians. Are you happy? Are you happy following Trudeau's orders? Are you happy following Trudeau's orders, knowing that you're putting Canadians' life on the line? Hi, how are you? Excuse me. Are you do you know what's going on here? Justin Trudeau said no foreigners are allowed in this country. Did he tell you something different? Now, my Uber driver has been waiting up the road. Last time I was here, I got a ticket for bringing my car, so I brought an Uber driver instead. Here's a conversation that I just had with him after the RCMP harassed him.
He just asked me who I was. I said I'm an Uber driver. They asked me for my driver's license, so I gave it to him. Okay. So he controlled it and gave it back to me.
Okay, don't let him push you around.
Yeah.
Like you haven't, like it's not illegal to be here.
No.
They just don't want anyone seeing what's going on.
Exactly. I think so.
So like I said, I'll give you $300. Just wait a few seconds.
No problem.
Okay, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Doing work like this, there's risk involved, and I've personally accepted that. But I can't do it all myself. It also takes cash. As you heard that, I need to pay this Uber driver so that he'll stay here while I film this, while I record what's going on. I need you to do two things. If you can help me out, please go to closetheborder.ca and do two things.
He did great reporting there. You know, the time he went previous, he was driving his own car, and the police detained him on fake grounds. They just said, stay here, and they implied he would be arrested if he didn't, while they moved the migrants away so he couldn't follow them. It makes me cringe every time I hear that he paid that guy $300, but I guess that guy really wanted to leave, and he was worried about getting arrested too. The police there clearly in a tough spot. Just a quick shout out to some of our Super Chat donors. Darren Turner, $14. Great job, Rebel Media. Keep up your very important work. Hopefully someday this corrupt Liberal government will be held accountable for all their crimes. Well, I very much doubt that, given the RCMP has let Trudeau go on the SNC Lavalin corruption matter. David Anderson, $2. Thank you for that. David Anderson, again, no credit to PMJT. He's been stampeded into it. Yeah, I think we might have even seen some vigilante action by Quebecers. They were so incensed by the fact that that border remained open. Broderick Visser, $1, thank you for that. And I think I scrolled through to catch all the super chat. Oh, no, there's a big one there. Oh, by Darren Turner, I already read that one. Thanks. Okay, so we're caught up. So we've shown you the Prime Minister talking about Roxham Road, Kean at Roxham Road. I think that Kean has done more reporting from Roxham Road of an accountability style reporting, and I think that his journalism in part was responsible for the political change, of course, by Trudeau, but whatever the reason is, I'm glad it happened. I want to show you a video that I just saw yesterday, and maybe we talked about this the other day, and there's some videos, you see them, you can't unsee them, from the Chinese food markets in places like Wuhan. When I went to China a dozen years ago, I went through the wet market in, I think it was Shanghai, and I could barely breathe. There was so much animal dander and things in the air and critters everywhere, and it's sort of a shocking thing. I mean, there's a reason, I think, why in North America we don't have a shopping experience right in the slaughterhouse as animals are getting killed. I think hygiene is one reason, safety is one reason, and I think it's healthy to maintain a certain revulsion or disgust at seeing certain things. You know, you don't want to be hypersensitive, but take a look at this video and I'll give you my short theory on revulsion and disgust. Take a look at the video.
大家不用害怕啊，这个是中药材，可食用的。咱们炸一个，喜欢的老铁双击加关注，咱们下个视频开吃。还不是太熟啊，咱们再炸一会儿。行了，我把一个。
You know, I don't know when that video was dated. I don't know if it was since the Wuhan virus. Let me assure you that that is the least gross video of that genre. And this is not like some gross out channel or this was not, I can tell you those bugs or whatever those things were, was that a giant caterpillar or a scorpion? I don't know what that was. That is less gross than watching some of the delighted food influencer vids where, and I hate to say it, where people in China eat animals while they are still alive. Bite into an animal while it's still alive. I don't know what that liquid there was. It looked like it was, I mean, it was served in the champagne or a wine glass, right? And it looked like it was carbonated, right? Did it look bubbly when that critter was put in there? I don't think that was hot, right? Like, I don't think it was boiled. I don't know what that was. I don't know if those critters actually died. But I don't think that was well cooked. And I don't know if it was still alive when she ate it, but I have to tell you, I've seen some absolutely stomach-turning videos of animals being eaten alive. And of course, these viruses spread from animals to people. Most famously, the bubonic plague, the Black Plague, went from fleas and rats to people, obviously, and there's flu and other diseases that come from monkeys. And in fact, a question about where the AIDS virus originated. Let me tell you my thoughts on being grossed out, because it's not just an aesthetic or like you don't want to be hypersensitive, right? I mean, but there's a reason our bodies gag when we see something like a dead animal with flies on it. Why does that instill a natural gag reflex in us? Why do we gag and get disgusted? And you can actually you can actually throw up if you're so disgusted, let alone if you were to eat something gross. That is not, I mean, you can overdo it. You can be a drama queen on such things. But I put it to you that it serves the same purpose as our eyelashes, as the little tiny hairs in your nose, as it's designed to keep you safe from the world's dangers. The eyelashes are to keep dust and bugs out of your eyes, right? You know that, right? Not just to look pretty. And that natural human gag reflex to throw up is to protect you from eating bad things, right? If there's something really gross in your stomach, you throw it up. But to have that gag reflex, that disgusted, revolted repulsion, even when you see live animals that are gross and creepy crawly, that is Mother Nature. That is 50,000 years of evolution. That is natural selection telling you, don't eat it. If you see a dead animal covered in flies and maggots, your body is saying, don't eat it. It's dangerous for you. Don't do it. If you don't have the common sense, 50,000 years of natural selection, you know, what made someone sick and what didn't, what killed someone, what didn't, you're alive because for 50,000 years, you and your entire ancestors didn't eat spoiling, rotting meat with maggots in it. And I'm sorry to go in depth on this, but I'm explaining why it's not just it's not racism, it's not a cultural, I suppose if you eat live animals, if that's part of your culture, I suppose it is a critique of that aspect of your culture. But this is self-preservation, people. There's a reason we don't eat, it's a reason we cook meat. Even I remember, and I'm almost done on the subject, but I remember the very first time in my life I tried sushi. I had to get over the squishiness of it. You know why? Because for 50,000 years, my people cooked meat. They didn't eat squishy things. And I had to conquer that part of my, you know, you don't want to eat squishy things because if they're not cooked, they might not be as safe. I think sushi is only safe because it's immediately frozen on the boat. It's shipped frozen. Even sushi restaurants in coastal cities like Vancouver and Halifax, the fish comes in frozen for safety reasons. So you have to overcome your natural revulsion to the squishiness of it to eat it. Even sushi, it's hard to do because it is against our nature to eat uncooked things. All right, I'm done. I'm just saying, for God's sakes, that's not, you don't just say, oh, that turn a blind eye to that because that's culturally mean of you. No, that girl there, and I tell you that's the least of it. The videos I've seen from some of these wet markets and what they eat there. All right, thanks for letting me tell you that. I hope I didn't go on too long on that. Kent Manning, $21, thanks very much. $50 from Damon the Dammits. When the Chinese eat exotic things, we see it as gluttony, but they see it as a rich feast designed to promote status. There was so much famine in China, only the king could eat exotic stuff, and they think they're celebrating wealth under Xi Jinping. I don't know enough about it. I would have guessed the opposite. I mean, traditional Jewish cuisine, I'm not even going to use the word cuisine, that makes it sound fancy. Things the Jews ate was poor food. Like if you're really poor, you eat things that other people would throw away. I mean, gefilte fish. It's the cheapest, grossest fish there is, all chopped up so you can't even identify it, and it tastes so bad you have it with hot horseradish. That's poor food. I mean, a lot of ethnic foods historically are poor man's foods. I mean, what's haggis? Or the Jewish version of haggis called kishka. So you might be right that that's considered super fancy. My theory is that if you're really, maybe that's what it is. But I would have guessed it was the opposite, that you're just so poor. And I mean, there's been famine in China as recently as several decades ago. So maybe they just eat any bloody thing. But you may know more than me. Lamont Boucherville, I highly recommend Ezra's book, Libranos, a masterpiece. Trudeau must go. Thank you very much for that. Larry Howther, $20. Thanks, Larry. Have I caught up with all the super chats? Oh, I'm getting 2 more Justin's going to send me. Anyway, my point, I don't know where the Wuhan virus came from. I don't think anyone knows. But we do know that viruses have come from critters before. So how about just don't eat weird stuff, okay? How about cook the hell out of anything you eat? Just these videos being circulated. I mean, but I take the super chat writer's point that there's sort of, that woman was showing off. She was not eating poor food out of poverty. She obviously had a smartphone and a TikTok account or whatever. So I take your point. That's sort of a show off. Look at me eating something exotic. Look at me being super cool, eating something weird very dramatically. I think maybe you're right. I'm still waiting for, okay, that'll come in. Let me take a look at what other things we got. Mr. Torius chips in £5 and says, love your work, Rebel News. Wish our reporters in the UK were like you. Keep up the great reporting. Well, thanks very much. You know, I had intended of coming back to the UK to cover Tommy's assault trial in April, but I don't know if travel to the UK is wise given things. And frankly, I don't want to be quarantined for 14 days just to do the trip. I don't want to be stranded. Things are changing literally every day. So I don't think it's wise for me to go over there. I haven't written it off. There's still 2 weeks to go before Tommy's new trial. But right now I'm tending that I don't think I would go. It's not worth it to get sick for a story. Maybe we're all going to get sick, though. I don't know. Gender neutral, I'm guessing that's not a real name, says, please update us on Wexit, join the USA. Well, as you know, the price of oil, the world price, what's the world price? Is it $20? I'd have to, it's very low. I'm just going to type in the West Texas Intermediate. It's $30. I'm sorry, I said 20. I should have known better. But there's different blends of oil. There's a North Sea Brent, for example. That's US dollars. So $30 a barrel US for oil is probably enough to keep the shale producers in Texas going because it's very cheap operating there. But understand that in Western Canada, because of the pipeline bottleneck, Western Canada Select, I saw the other day it was trading at less than $8 a barrel. Now, how many gallons in a barrel? I used to know that off by heart, but I just don't use that a lot. I think it's 42 gallons. 42 gallons in a barrel. For my Canadian friends, I'm going to, how many liters are in a barrel? Because we don't really know gallons that well. There's 160 liters, or 158.9, let's say 160 liters in one barrel. 160 liters of oil in a barrel. And that barrel of oil is $8. $8. What is that? Is that 5 cents a liter? Is my math right on that? I think it is. 5 cents a liter. That's so low. All the work, I mean, that's almost as, how much you pay for a bottle of water in the store? How much you pay for a can of Coke or a can of beer, let alone? 5 cents a liter. If you're paying $8 for a barrel for oil, and there's 160 liters in that barrel, 42 gallons, you're paying 5 cents a liter. And that's heartbreaking. And that's on top of the pipeline problem. That's on top of the canceled projects. Justin Trudeau's still pressing ahead with his carbon tax. And now you've got the coronavirus on everything. I don't think Alberta has been hit this hard literally since the Great Depression of the 20s and 30s. I just don't think it has. The catch up, wash and deal. We love Rebel. Don't stop making them accountable. We'll do our best. Lee, 25 pounds. Thank you for your great work. Greetings from Berlin. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Taltana. Ezra, amazing job from the Liberal Nest in Newfoundland. I hope more Canadians wake up sooner than later. Coronavirus is for fear-mongering. Worst tyranny yet to come. Government's corrupt. Well, there's a very good point there. We don't know how bad things are. The government says, trust us. And on some things I'm tempted to. But beware of the tyranny they impose, the powers they grab, the favors they do for friends, the money they grab in the name of this crisis. Proud Boys Calgary, $5. Whatever happened to medium rare steak? Shameless plug. Join the world's greatest fraternal organization, proudboyscanada.com. Enjoy your lunches. Yeah, medium rare. Well, but there again, you will agree with me that medium rare steak, and some people have a blue rare. That is an acquired taste. People who have carpaccio, even smoked salmon or cured salmon. My point is, why is that an acquired taste? Because you have to teach your body to ignore its natural instinct to spit out raw meat. That's why tell me the last time you saw a child. I mean, kids. By kid, let's say there's a 12-year-old kid, so he's old enough to have his steak. I'm not talking about babies. So you got a 12-year-old kid. You go to the restaurant. On the kids' menu they have like a 4-ounce steak. Tell me if you ever in your life have heard of a 12-year-old kid or an 8-year-old kid, 8 years old kid, saying, "Yeah, I'd like my steak rare." Never, never, because it's not a natural taste. You have to overcome your body's revulsion and repulsion. I'm just saying. Ray W., when it comes out in the wash, the CCP will get 99% of the blame. The mad mainstream media, 1% of their alarmism. Well, it's funny you say that, Ray, and thanks for the 10 pounds. Because, of course, now we see the mainstream media parroting the Chinese Communist Party talking points. I just want to make sure I cover. I already said hi to Lee from Berlin. Thank you for that. Darren Turner, thank you for that. I think I've caught up. Thanks for your patience with me. Donald Trump. Do we have the sound on tape of him with that reporter who said, "Why are you calling it Chinese virus?" Take a look at this.
Okay, why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate. Yeah, please, John, please. I have great love for all of the people from our country, but as you know, China tried to say at one point, maybe they stopped now, that it was caused by American soldiers. That can't happen. It's not going to happen. Not as long as I'm president. It comes from China. John, please.
2 questions. Well, that's exactly right. And it's interesting to note that Donald Trump did not start by saying China virus. He just didn't. He started coronavirus or, like everyone else, Wuhan, this or China. I mean, he didn't make a deliberate point of it until after the Chinese government, in the form of high bureaucrats and diplomats, started this bizarre and false conspiracy theory. I kid you not, I don't have the tweets at my fingertips, but you can find them pretty quick. Circulating a conspiracy theory, not doing so quietly, but openly and loudly suggesting that the U.S. Army is responsible for this whole thing. And Donald Trump pushed back on that. And Do we have the still photo of his speech? Do we have that? Where he crossed out the word coronavirus and added in the word China virus. It's not that important, but so and that's the thing about Trump, is, there's this, we've talked about this before. Give me 1 minute to explain it. Just make sure I've caught up on things there. I remember in college, we were in some management theory class. It was pretty dumb. But I remember a fun game we played. And David Anderson, I like to say Chi-Com flu. Well, it is the Communist Party that is the great enemy here, because remember, there were doctors on the ground in Wuhan who raised the alarm, were spreading the word on WeChat, which is a big social media company in China. They were asking for help. They were warning people. They were arrested. 8 doctors were arrested by China at the very end of 2019 for spreading false rumors. So there were good people on the ground. Obviously there were good people on the ground. Obviously there were people who were trying to solve the problem. It was the Chinese communists that went into full Chernobyl mode. You know what I mean by that? Blame storming, scapegoating, silencing, face saving. So I agree with you. I was going to talk about tit for tat. Oh, we got the photo of, here, yeah, show the photo on the screen. So this is, someone took a photograph of the script for Donald Trump's speech at the White House briefing room, and you can see he himself crossed out the word coronavirus and wrote the word Chinese in it. And I think Donald Trump is just fine having that photograph circulate, because it makes his point. Don't blame America. Let me explain a little bit about Donald Trump, and I know this is a tangent, but it's a story I like to tell. So it was something I learned when I was in school, and it's about trust and how to optimize relationships. It's a diplomacy question. It's an HR question. There's 2 ways you can, let's say that you are playing this game against someone else, and you both have to either push green light or red light. I'm not explaining it very well, but I'm doing my best here. If you press green and the other guy does green, you both get 10 points. So you both win. If you press red and the other guy presses red, you both get -5 points. But if you press green and the other guy presses red, you get -20 and he gets +20. Do you see what I'm saying? So in the long run, if you can both cooperate and press green with each other, you both get +10 every time. You're both doing well. But if you're afraid of the other guy, you both press red and you get a slight loss. Or if you think you can trick the other guy, which will probably only happen once, you do red, he does green, and you just kill him. In the long run, the best strategy, according to folks who ran all the numbers, is start friendly, start with green, and then do tit for tat. Whatever the guy did to you this turn, do to him next turn. So if you both start off friendly, then you both go friendly, and both go friendly, and friendly forever, and you both win. But as soon as the other guy goes negative on you, you have to go negative on him and keep going negative until he turns positive, and then you go positive again. I'm going to stop because I'm not a particularly good explainer of this game, but what it is, it's balancing vengeance and trust, self-interest and opportunism. Another way of saying that is politics. And that game and that formula, tit for tat, start friendly, start in good faith, as in make yourself vulnerable just the once, and then from then on you do exactly to that guy what he did to you. And so if he picked the fight, you get the last punch in until he says, sorry, I'm going green again. So the first time he goes green, you're still red, but you say, okay, he wants peace, I'm going to do tit for tat now. That is Donald Trump. That's Donald Trump. He starts off, hail fellow, well met. He starts off, he'll talk to anyone. For God's sakes, he talked to Kim Jong-un. He'll talk to anybody, and he'll give anyone a chance. He'll work with Democrats. People think he's partisan. The guy's a deal maker. He's a property developer from Manhattan. First of all, he's surrounded by Democrats. Second of all he does is deals. He doesn't take it personally. So he's been friendly enough to China, and he's in fact given them unwarranted praise a couple months ago. Said, President Xi's doing a great job. The only reason he's saying Chinese flu is because of tit for tat. He started off pressing the green button, and China pressed the green button, green button, green button, green button, green button, and then China presses the red button and says, U.S. Army did it. Now Trump is smashing that red button, and who's got the bigger megaphone? Well, Donald J. Trump, that's who. And Trump will stop, but in that algorithm, tit for tat, the other guy has to stop first and surrender first and punch the green button first. And then after the other guy bends the knee, Donald Trump is quick to forgive. I've seen it. I remember when Donald Trump was warring with Carlos Slim, the Mexican gazillionaire owner of the New York Times. And then Carlos Slim bent the knee, got on a plane from Mexico City, flew to Mar-a-Lago, met with Donald Trump and said, can we hug it out? And Trump did. Now they're fighting again, but that's how Trump works. That's my theory. Stephen Bent, $50, thank you. This Chinese virus is devastating the economy, and the Liberals are dropping the ball big time. Keep up the good fight, Ezra. Thank you. David Anderson, Chi-Column flu. I read that one already. Did I miss any? Did I miss any more? Okay, I'm sorry I missed them. I was going on about that red button, green button thing, and I didn't really explain it well, but you see what I mean? Darren Turner, Ezra, can you have the Libranos lawn signs available for sale on your website? I have bought the beautiful hoodie. Okay, good. Aggie Muntian, what should we do? What's your message to Canadians? How will we fight this? Will you, Rebel News, sue Trudeau? Or will you run for PM? Thank you. Papos Calgary, Winnie the Flu, Kung Flu, sweet and sour sicken. Well, now you're just picking a fight. Although the Babylon Bee, can you go to the Babylon Bee Twitter page? And they have a very funny graphic. Do you know what I'm talking about, the Babylon Bee? They're a satirical, it's the Babylon Bee. It's the graphic on racist words you can and can't say. And it's too funny. It's March 18th. Stop using racist terms. So just scroll down to March 18th and you'll see it. And we'll read through this. And this is going to get you in trouble, but it's the Babylon Bee's way of saying we're allowed to laugh. It's called gallows humor or black humor. It's an old way of coping. It's an ancient way of coping. Again, like our 50,000 years of... did you find it there? The Babylon Bee. Scroll down to March 18th. There you go. There we go. So this is the Babylon Bee. Stop using racist terminology, you bigots. Instead of Wuhan virus, lung pao sicken. Okay, you're going to hell for that. Instead of Black Death, death of color. Instead of Indian giver, very, very rude, Elizabeth Warren. Canadian bacon, okay, this hurts now. You're going too far now. Geopolitically irrelevant, inferior bacon. I don't know who's got the grudge, but all right. So you got the last punch. Can we go to tit for tat? Can we love each other again? Mexican jumping beans, Latinx. I don't know. Did you say Latinx or did you say Latinx? I've never heard that made-up woke word spoken. Latinx acrobatic moth larvae. Chinese dictator. No. Don't be racist. Austere totalitarian scholar. And then Japanese cartoons. It's called anime, and it's totally normal for adults to watch, Mom. Hey guys, if you're not following the Babylon Bee on Twitter, you're really missing out. It's funnier than The Onion, I think. And I like The Onion. I have for a decade. And it's conservative humor. and a little bit Christian humor. And those things are rare because conservatives and Christians think with different parts of their brain. It's like, who typically tells more jokes? The engineering student, the computer science grad, or someone in like drama school, right? I don't know why it is. It's just a different part of the brain. And so to find a legitimately funny conservative site, it's as rare as a unicorn, which is why it's so popular. And CNN is at war with the Babylon Bee. And Snopes, you know what Snopes is? It's this Democratic Party fact-checking site. That's right. Yeah, it's basically the Democratic Party's war room. And by fact-checking, they mean basically disparaging anything effective on the right. And they are obsessed with the Babylon Bee. Can you just Google something to as a proof point for what I'm saying here? Just Babylon Bee CNN or Babylon Bee Snopes, either one. Both CNN and the Babylon and Snopes. You know, I just read to you like a goofy thing from the Babylon Bee. Like that's obviously a joke, right? It's obviously a joke. And the thing about jokes is you don't have to agree that they're funny. You don't have to agree that they're in good taste. But you have to agree they're a joke. And I believe that, everyone has a different sense of humor. But Snopes and CNN, no. That's disinformation. It's not lung pow sicken. It's not death of color, not Black Death. You find anything, CNN or Snopes on Babylon Bee, don't worry about it. It's a tangent, one of many. Oh my gosh, it's 12:41. I've been talking about silly things so much. Let's get back on track. Speaking of Chinese virus, I can understand how a Chinese American, Chinese Canadian can feel a little sensitive, of course. But China is a country. Chinese, well, the word Chinese refers to a language. He speaks Chinese. Of course, there's different dialects in Chinese. It refers to a nationality. Someone from China is Chinese. It's a nationality, it's a nation, it's a sovereign country. But Chinese is also shorthand for a racial description. He's Chinese. Even someone who is a Canadian national who doesn't speak that language, you could call them Chinese or Chinese Canadian to describe their race. So I can understand how you're feeling a little sensitive if people start saying Chinese flu, Chinese virus, Chinese, I get it. I mean, if there was a country called Jewish and that country did something and it was called the Jewish virus, I wouldn't feel great because I would feel like people, I get it. Let me just say, I absolutely get Chinese Canadians, Chinese Americans who aren't thrilled with this turn of events. But sorry, it is a fact that the virus did come from a country called China, and the government of China picked this fight in that red button, green button way with Trump. Trump wasn't being mean to them. Trump, in fact, praised Xi. I don't know if you can find that. Type in the search engine on Twitter, /real Donald Trump. You know how to do that? And then XI. So /real Donald Trump, no space in between the real Donald Trump. You know how to do that? So you're searching tweets from real Donald Trump, XI. And I bet you'll find it quick. I think it was in February, Trump gave a big green button, big push the green button for President Xi. In my mind, over the top, unnecessary, and frankly, inaccurate. When I saw that tweet, I thought, why is Trump doing that? Maybe he got some concession from China, and this was a dumb way of... Yeah, here we go. February 7th, thank you, you found it. Just had a long and very good conversation by phone with President Xi of China. He is strong, sharp, and powerfully focused on leading the counterattack on the coronavirus. He feels they are doing very well, even building hospitals. in a matter of only days. Nothing is easy, but, and you can see I'm continuing here, he will be successful, especially as the weather starts to warm and the virus hopefully becomes weaker and then gone. Great discipline is taking place in China as President Xi strongly leads what will be a very successful operation. We are working closely with China to help. Can you click back to the earlier screen there? So this is very loving. It's artfully worded. So he's saying he's a strong, sharp, and he's powerfully focused on leading the counterattack. In some ways, you couldn't say that's false. Is he strong? I don't know. Is he sharp? Is he focused on the counterattack? Yeah, I guess. He feels they're doing very well. So Trump's not actually saying they were doing well, but he's quoting them praising themselves. Building hospitals in a matter of only days. Yeah, we can talk about those hospitals now, how awful they actually were. Can you go to the next screen again? But he will be successful. Okay, I guess you can make any prediction. Great discipline is taking place in China. Yeah, that's called a totalitarian regime, boss. President Xi strongly leads. Yeah, when you're a dictator and you arrest anyone in your way, I guess that is a form of strong leadership. Well, will be a very successful operation. We are working. So this certainly feels like praise. In a way, it's carefully worded. I saw that and I groaned. I thought, why are you praising him? I don't think at that point we knew how deceptive China had been. Can you find the World Health Organization tweet that we used the other day where they say the disease can't be passed from person to person? You know the one I'm talking about? So I saw that tweet, and you'll notice Trump called it, what did he call it? The coronavirus, right? So Trump was hitting that green button pretty hard. And I presume that Xi Jinping was hitting the green button. So both guys are being nice to each other, and both are getting the +10 or whatever I said in my scenario. Green, 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 green. I like you, I like you, I like you. I'm being nice to you, I'm being nice to you. That's called cooperation, that's called diplomacy. You know, that great British diplomat who said being an ambassador means to lie abroad for your country, which is a triple pun. Lie is into tell a lie abroad of the country, or battleships would lie abroad. That's like to give they would turn sideways and fire all their guns. So it was a triple pun. A diplomat is someone who lies abroad for their country. He was sacked for saying that because it was too funny. Sometimes jokes can be too funny. So Donald Trump was lying for his country. Do you really think Donald Trump enjoys the company of Xi Jinping? No. There are people that I think Trump does like the company of. Trump, I think, really likes Nigel Farage. I think they're buddies in a genuine way. I'm trying to think who else Trump actually likes. I don't think he certainly has, I think he really likes working with Narendra Modi, but they're so different as people. I can't, like, I don't think Narendra Modi drinks anything. I don't know if that's a religious thing or just, he's so austere in his lifestyle. So he's so different, but both have made the decision to be as close friends as possible. Can you Google for me a photo of Trump and Modi holding hands? There's an Eastern tradition of men holding hands. You see it a lot in Arabia. George W. Bush and other U.S. presidents would hold hands with Saudi leaders. And this is unusual in the West. Yeah, so look at that. Holding hands like you would hold the hand of a child, like you would hold the hand of a wife or girlfriend. He's holding hands because that's how you do it over there, I guess. I've actually never been to India, but I've seen things like that. Like, that's friendly, right? That's not Trump's normal place, but Trump has made a decision. Damn it, I'm going to like Modi, and Modi's made the same decision, and they're both hitting that green button really hard. So Trump was hitting that green button in that tweet so hard, frankly, it bugged me a bit. Can you dig up that tweet from the Chinese? Do you need my help to find it? I'm talking about senior Chinese officials. And of course, all Chinese officials are following the script of the dictatorship. It's not like they have Democrats and Republicans and independents and neutral civil servants and partisan and diplomat. It's all the Communist Party. And it's not a voluntary thing, it's a totalitarian dictatorship. So any statement by China, I'm just going to have a sip, excuse me. Any statement by China is official. And if it's not, that person is never seen from again. But these statements were made by very senior diplomats, bureaucrats, foreign affairs spokesmen. Do you need help? I can. Okay, Justin's going to find what I'm looking for, and I'll read some of the super chats. I want to show you how insane it is. Yeah, the U.S. Army one. Super chats. D. Tyler Dunbrack, $10. Journalists who don't question everything are usually covering up. Thanks for the rebel. Do you still think the Twin Towers were demolished by airliners? Yes, I do. Damon the Damage, $2. Chinese is a nationality. It's a nationality. It's a language. I think it's an ethnicity, although in China there's very many different ethnicities. The largest or most dominant would be the Han ethnicity. But I guess just in common normal parlance, Chinese refers to, we want Chinese food. Well, that's in the cultural style. That's not food that comes from China. It's not necessarily food made by a Chinese ethnic person. So the word Chinese, you can stretch it. It's like shalom. It means hello and goodbye and peace. I mean, there's some words that have a lot of meanings, and I can understand why a Chinese American or Chinese Canadian wouldn't be thrilled that Donald Trump is calling it a Chinese virus. I get that. But he's hitting that red button. Do we have the... Here we go. Look at this. Thank you. So Li Jian Zhao, let me just... I want to click on his biography. I want to tell you his station in life. I think he's deputy director of propaganda. Yeah, there we go. Li Jian Zhao. He's the spokesperson and deputy director general, Information Department, Foreign Ministry. So he is the official voice of China to the world, okay? He's got 418,000 followers on Twitter. He's fairly new to Twitter. His bio says he joined in May 2010, but he's only become particularly active since this crisis. So this is the #1 spokesman for the regime. Deputy Director General, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, spokesman, big guy. CDC, that's the Centers for Disease Control. That's the American agency. CDC was caught on the spot. When did patient zero begin in the United States? How many people are infected? What are the names of the hospitals? It might be U.S. Army who brought the epidemic to Wuhan. Be transparent. Make public your data. U.S. owe us an explanation. And he tweeted this on March 12th, just last week. The chutzpah. The chutzpah. You know what the definition of chutzpah is? That's a Yiddish word. Chutzpah is someone who kills their parents and then asks the judge for leniency because he's an orphan. That's chutzpah. Chutzpah is the Chinese dictatorship which arrested the whistleblowers, which banned the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, from sending technical staff to learn about the virus. Chutzpah is covering it all up for weeks. Chutzpah is not warning other Chinese people, let alone warning the world. Chutzpah is not banning travel to other countries. And then accusing America of each of those things. Now, in China, they don't have pundits. In Canada, the United States, the United Kingdom, we have pundits who say stupid things all the time, outrageous things all the time. It's okay, they're just nobodies. A pundit, what's a pundit? It's nothing. There's a lot of stupid out there. But this wasn't some pundit. This wasn't some journalist. This wasn't some blowhard. This was the voice of China, which means it was the right hand of Xi Jinping. So Donald Trump went from that loving couplet of tweets, that loving, President Xi is very strong and determined. President Xi will overcome. Great leadership, very good. I'm impressed with him. I love you. Green, green, green button, boom, 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 boom. And then this guy, this number 2 right-hand man, says America is hiding, says America is lying, and that's bad enough, but then purely suggests the conspiracy theory that America did this? What are you doing, brother? What are you doing, brother? Donald Trump is going to take a sledgehammer and hit that red button now, like he's at a carnival. Pound the button, it goes up to hit the bell. He's going to smash that thing 20 times because you're in a contest with him now. You picked a fight with him now. And don't you know one thing about Donald Trump is that he will have the last word. He's so stubborn that way, and he's dealing with the worst crisis of his career. Every world leader is. The crisis is from China, and China is blaming him right now. Get ready for that red button to be pushed for a very long time. Yeah, I don't think it's just going to be one push and then it's done. I think he's going to be hitting that red button. Wheel and Deal. Grand Prairie Gary says, we love you up here. Don't let them Alex Jones you. Rebel is the news we trust. The only real media. Keep pushing back. Well, thank you very much. Oh, okay. I got one more little bundle of super chats. Let me just find it here. There we go. Thanks for your patience. I think I have read all these. Yeah. Oh, and there's a new one. Thanks very much. I'm just catching up because I was paying attention to the thing. There we go. Apu Baker Al Puff Daddy. Ezra, how are you and your staff coping at this time? What can we fans of Rebel Media do for you all? Well, that's very nice. And we have 3 minutes left, so maybe I'll end on that note. Well, some of our people work from remote anyways. Sheila Gunn-Reid is based in her home in northern Alberta. Kian Bexley traveled a lot. I think he's decided to put the travel on hold. That's probably a good idea. So he's based in Calgary. We have an editor who works from home in Edmonton anyways, a researcher who works from home in Ottawa. So some of our staff was by remote anyways. And most of our work here can be done by remote. I'm here in the studio, and there's my buddy Justin who runs the gizmos. But really, the other stuff here can be done from home. So we have a lot of different offices, and I've said to people, feel free to use offices if you just want to space yourself out. We have food that we bring in the kitchen, and I've suggested that it all be individually wrapped, so it sort of was anyway. So we're not doing anything really radical. We're sort of spaced out. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 6 of us here, and the rest of us are working elsewhere, and that's fine. We've started doing twice a day Skype calls. In fact, we just started that this morning, in the morning, and then in the afternoon. Just everybody, hey, how you doing? What's cooking? And my goal is to keep those fairly short. But just so we don't forget about people, and just so people, there's a social side of work, I think. I mean, work is work, and you got to work, and you got to do the work. But it's also fun to see people who become your work friends, at least, maybe even friends outside of work. And I always like the snacks, and to talk about the snacks in the office. Like it's just me. So there's a social component, and Skype isn't the same, but so that's what we're doing. Sometimes I have guests sit right here in the studio, but I think we're going to pretty much stick to Skype guests. Why not? I think the number one change you'll see to Rebel News during these troubles is that we won't be traveling to cover the story quite as much. I think Kian's going to stay close to home. He was our number one traveler. He would sometimes be in 3 cities a week. So I think he's just going to cool it. David is traveling a bit. In fact, he's off on a little mission today. Probably have that video tomorrow. But as I said to David and to Kian, if they don't feel like traveling, if they don't want to do that anymore, that's fine by me. So we're going to keep doing my show every night. I do my show every day at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a longer produced show. And we're still going to do YouTube videos. And it'll just be a little bit less on location stuff. We've had people who have a cough or cold or sniffles or flu or whatever, which I think would be normal, so they're at home. No one here has been tested. I don't even know how you get a test in Toronto. And I certainly wouldn't just waltz into a hospital or a doctor's office to try and get one. So as far as I know, everyone here is healthy. We're slightly spaced out at work. And, you know, spaced out, people would say, Ezra, you're spaced out all the time. And that's it. So thank you for the question. That's probably my over answer. And hopefully Rebel will stay strong. I believe that our coverage is actually quite important right now, because although we want to have a public spirit about us, and I believe we do, we have to be skeptical of official sources of information. We can see that China lies. That's no longer in doubt. Not just lie, they arrest truth tellers. And we see that our own government has lied. Bill Blair, for example, has lied about the screening going on in Canadian airports. There is no enhanced screening. We have flights, in fact, do you want to just put up the flight tracker just really quickly? I know it's 1:01, so we should go pretty quick, but just, you can find it pretty quick on my website, on my Twitter feed. I mean, or even just go to yvr.ca or torontopearson.com or whatever that flight tracker is going. Yeah, here we go. So look at this. So this is a website called Flight Aware. And you see, this is Air China 991. And you see, yeah, scroll down a bit more. So that's a plane, took off in Beijing, flew, and it looks like it either just landed or is about to land. In fact, it's landing this very minute, isn't it? Can you scroll up? So scroll, that's landing right now. So scroll up just a tiny bit more. 9.5 hours travel time. It just landed 10:02 a.m. Pacific, like literally this minute, the plane landed. It's 1 hour early. There's a lot of information here. It left Terminal 3 in Beijing, the capital. It landed in Vancouver International Airport, Terminal M, Friday, 2020, March 20th, that's today. It landed literally this minute. It landed this minute, 58 minutes early. And can you scroll down, because it'll tell us the kind of aircraft if you scroll down. So that's the flight path. Scroll down a tiny bit more. Yeah, okay, it's the one in yellow. And that's B-77W. I happen to know that means the Boeing 777, the Boeing 777W, so that's an extended range aircraft. That aircraft has about 300 seats in it. I've been on a Boeing 777, it's a nice plane. It's built for these long-haul Pacific flights. It's, 10-hour flight. I don't know how many people would be on that flight, but I do know for a fact that none of them will have their temperature taken, none of them will be quarantined, and the, quote, enhanced screening they will get will be a brochure in English and French, neither of which is the official language of Beijing, China. Other flights that come in almost every day to Vancouver include flights from Shanghai, Xiamen, Guangzhou, and I don't want to try and remember the other cities without a prompt. So yeah, every single day, more flights coming. It's very easy to find that out. Just go to the official websites for the Vancouver airport or the Toronto airport, click on the arrivals tab, and you get a list of every single plane arriving in those airports minute by minute. And most of them are Canadian or American. You will see some foreign flights, and you will see flights literally every day from China, direct to Vancouver, direct to Toronto. I'm not sure if they also go to Montreal or Calgary, but I can tell you from personal observation, they come to those other cities I just listed. All right. I'll leave it there. Thank you all very much for your super chats. I support that. Sorry, I appreciate that support is what I meant to say. We'll stay healthy. You stay healthy. We'll all get through this. I know we will. And thank you for the super chat support. And thanks for watching The Rebel. Tune in tonight if you like. I like our shows that we put out at 8 p.m. They're a little bit more produced. I do a proper monologue. I typically interview a guest, read my hate mail, stuff like that. You can become a subscriber. It's $8 a month, and I should tell you that that subscription is half of our revenue here at Rebel News. So if you want to help us and get something fun out of it too, if you go to rebelnews.com, you can become a subscriber for $8 a month. It's not very much money, and especially if you're stuck at home, it gives you access to a lot of content, almost an hour a day from me, and we got Sheila Gunn Reid has a show and David Menzies has a show. So think about going to rebelnews.com and becoming a premium subscriber. Okay, that's it. I'll see everybody tonight at 8 p.m. and we'll have more videos over the weekend. I'll be back in studio on Monday. Take care. Keep fighting for freedom.